What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the No Name Podcast. It is your boy Young Rich back at it again with another episode. And today we're not going to hesitate. We're going to get straight into it. Thursday night football predictions. I mean, we all know what's going on. Buffalo coming off this embarrassing loss to New England. All right, Mac Jones ran Buffalo once again. Here Buffalo is 9-point favorites. It got bumped from 8.5 to 9. Not a lot of people were taking them at 9 because of how they looked the past 2 weeks. I sure as hell wouldn't take them at 9 even, just because of the fact, last week they did get upset when they were 9-point favorites again. And then the week before that, there were 2 touchdown favorites, got up to 15.5 against the New York Giants without Daniel Jones, and they go out there and barely win and escape with their life. So with that being said, what are the expectations? Who do I think is going to win? How do I think what the Buccaneers need to do to win? And at the end of the day, listen, it is 2 great defenses going at it. All right, this all comes down to the quarterback play. It's Josh Allen versus Baker Mayfield. It's who's got the ability to run the ball effectively. We know Buffalo has had moments, and last year they were known as one of the best rush defenses in the league. They've given up some big time games against certain teams. So it's not in their favor. They have not proven they are still that elite run defense. And I think the number one overall thing for Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay is to successfully run the ball with Rashad White. Throwing the ball 44 times last game for Baker Mayfield is not a key to success. It's not how you're going to win a lot of games, especially against someone like Buffalo. One thing Baker Mayfield does do a good job of is not turning the ball over. So if you get into another situation where this defense plays lights out, Josh Allen makes a turnover, gives you multiple opportunities to build onto a lead and take the lead, you have to take advantage of those. So this goes to Baker Mayfield having to play smart, not turn the ball over, make the right plays, and extend drives. And a lot of these close games that they have lost has been to Baker Mayfield playing poorly, not executing on third down, not making the right reads, and you got to see Baker Mayfield really step up this week if you want to see them have a chance to win. I think it's going to be a closer game than 9 points. The way Buffalo has played, we know their roller coaster, their highs, their downs, and how Josh Allen has been. So are we going to see Josh Allen, MVP, former Josh Allen this week? We don't know, but I would put my money on the fact that it's going to be a close game. And with that being said, like I said, they need to run the ball. They have the 22nd best offense in football right now, and like I said, 44 pass attempts last week is not what you want to do for Baker Mayfield. It's not how he's comfortable. It's not what they did in Cleveland when he was successful and he had his moments where they made the playoffs once. You have to be able to run the ball against his team, and it's just going to make everything easier for Baker Mayfield, allowing him to rely on the run a little bit more, be a little bit more run heavy, even getting Rashad White involved in the backfield, with little short swing routes, screen plays, getting him involved catching the ball. We know he's more than capable of that. We've seen it in previous years. So we're hoping that Baker Mayfield takes a step and this offense does. And one of the biggest key players in this game, the key to look at has got to be Mike Evans. Mike Evans lives for these types of games. We know how good he is. I've always been a preacher that he is the definition of Mr. Consistent in the NFL. A lot of people said he wasn't going to hit that 1,000-yard mark again, and he's clearly on pace for it again. He's on pace, I believe, for about 1,200, which is great to see, especially because nobody thought this was going to happen with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask being the quarterback conversation before the season even started. So, listen, Tampa Bay defense, 20th in total yards, 26th in pass yards, 10th in rush yards, but the biggest thing where they do stand out is 6th in points allowed. All right, they do give up a little bit of passing yards. They're not top tier in the secondary. They do have plays. I think one of the biggest issues is the fact their defense is good. I think one of the biggest things that they lack is consistent pass rush, which is something you need to do to make Josh Allen uncomfortable and take advantage of Josh Allen trying to do too much. I talked about this on the last video. You have to just make Josh Allen be someone who's not. So if you get him in situations where he tries to do too much, tries to show off his big arm and make these big flashy plays, you got to take advantage of him and just get him off the field. Listen, this Buffalo team is going to be getting healthier. Von Miller is going to get more reps. He's going to get more, as weeks go by, he's going to be getting closer to 100%. So you got to take that into part. This Buffalo defense is good. It's a little bit inconsistent here and there, but for the most part, it's good. They've got the names. They've got the players. And they do lead the NFL, not lead the NFL, second in most sacks in the NFL, which is going to be a key part for Baker Mayfield to respond. And this all comes down to, again, being able to run the ball. How do you slow down a good D-line? You run at them. You make them have to play the run too and not just be straight pass rushers. If you get behind the sticks early, it's not going to be pretty for Tampa Bay. But I mean, again, you have just two great defenses going at it, and this is 100% a QB matchup. It is Baker Mayfield versus Josh Allen. Who's going to make the least mistakes? Who's going to make the right plays and the right reads in the right times when they matter most? And at the end of the day, if I had to take anything in this game, I'm taking the Buccaneers plus nine. Excuse me, not 9.5 because it's even 9, right? Just got bumped up from 8.5, like I said. All right, they've only gotten blown out really once this entire year, the Buccaneers. And it happens. Baker Mayfield played poorly, had a lot of turnovers, which led to a lot of points for the opposing team. Again, this is a head-to-head matchup. Josh Allen versus Baker Mayfield. Who's going to be the one to get their team over the hump? Again, if the Buffalo Bills go out here and lose again, it puts them in a deep, deep, deep hole. So the Buffalo Bills definitely have something to prove here this week, to prove that they are who they say they are, and their Super Bowl aspirations is not all just talk. Because at this point, Stephon Diggs is one of those guys. He's having himself a phenomenal year, but he talks so much, but it doesn't really lead to wins. And yes, you could blame that a lot on Josh Allen, but we know Stephon Diggs, when the lines shine brightest against the Chiefs year in and year out, every time they get a chance, he does not perform. So with that being said, take the Buccaneers at +9 even. And here we go. We got to do it. Here we go. QB tier list. It's going to start being referred to as the GOAT Mountain. Nick Wright does refer to this as Mahomes Mountain, but we're not referring it to Mahomes because we do not think he is the greatest quarterback ever. All right. I don't think they think that either, but just for specifics and just how I feel, right? This is GOAT Mountain. All right. If I could put Tom Brady up here, I will. I'm still working on getting a list with some different faces. All right. First things first. This list is about to change a little bit, all right? Anthony Richardson, he represents Gardner Minshew, who's been playing phenomenal in his spot. He had one bad week against the Jags, but he's still in there, all right? He's been playing great. Just came off a 300-yard performance in an unfortunate loss where he put up 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. So we got to give him his respect. Gardner Minshew is going to be right here in the front of the C-tier list. Boom. Kirk Cousins, after a great Monday Night Football game against the San Francisco 49ers where he went out there and upset when nobody thought that they were going to win. I mean, that definitely earned some respect on this list. Right here, boom. Mac Jones, his second time being on the list. I mean, obviously he had a lot of games where he put up some numbers, but it didn't really result in points. So with that being said, he had a tough couple weeks. We had 2 weeks where they were historically down bad, and I think he just had a good enough game to upset the Bills to at least get nominated on this list. But with that being said, names who are dropping. Deshaun Watson has to be dropped. Barely played last week. He went 1 for 5 with 1 interception and then got hurt and will be missing the next week. Derek Carr, he's dropping down in the D tier. You could say whatever you want about his yards. You know what? We'll leave him in C. Because there are some unplayable quarterbacks in that D tier. Sam Howell drops down. He has not been good at all over the last couple weeks. Jordan Love, he drops out of the list. Boom, he is not there. Justin Fields, another one. All right, he's been injured. Badgett came in and handled business against my Raiders, unfortunately, but that is how it is. All right, Jimmy G comes out as well. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 weeks. So, I can't put him in there if they're injured. All right. This sort of stuff starts to get interesting. Brock Purdy, 2 straight weeks, didn't look very good. He had a chance to come back in both against Cleveland. We'll give him his respect in the fact that he did set up the game-winning field goal. That was missed, all right? But against Minnesota, you can't forgive him for that. That was definitely on him. He blew his chance to get a game winner once, all right? And then he had another chance to get his defense, got him a stop, got the ball back. But unfortunately, he just turned it over again, and they weren't even close, all right? Dak Prescott, I mean, he did look good against the Chargers. He was using his feet. He was playing well, playing like how he's supposed to. So I'm going to give him some credit. He was using his feet to extend plays and just play good football. All right. So he's going to stay right here behind CJ Stroud because CJ Stroud has done nothing to disappoint. All right. Baker Mayfield, not a very good week. He will drop down to the C tier, right? He has an opportunity to go back up after this Thursday night football game against Buffalo. So we will see how it goes. Geno's going to stay right there. Matthew Stafford will drop down. I have not been impressed with him, even though the 2 weeks he's had with Cooper Kupp back. Jared Goff, he's going to stay right here. I mean, he had one bad week of football, and it was just unfortunate. I mean, we know how good the Ravens are at home, so we got to put him where he is. All right, now this is where stuff starts to get interesting. Tua Tagovailoa, he drops, boom, sit him in the B tier. I don't respect QBs who only know how to perform against terrible opponents. All right, Lamar Jackson, boom, had himself a great Sunday. All right, 300 total yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, it's just phenomenal stuff. And he's finally started to use his arm in the way that a lot of people were discrediting him for in the past. All right, and then Mahomes, once again, he's on the top of the mountain. I think it is well deserved. He's obviously had his struggles with turnovers for a couple weeks, but today he finally got it going. All right, and he is back where he belongs. Josh Allen, another one. He's dropping back to the B tier. All right, he has not been playing well the last 2 weeks, even though they won against the New York Giants. It was not pretty. I mean, again, just not something you want to see. Trevor Lawrence, I will put him in front of Tua here, just for the fact that Trevor Lawrence has been leading to victories. He has not looked special. He has not looked flashy. He has not looked great, but the numbers don't mean everything to me, all right? The fact that he's winning football games the right way, not turning the ball over, is what I like to see and why he gets some respect above that. Josh Allen, we are leaving him above Trevor Lawrence because he does put up great numbers, although the turnovers really hurt him. I still think he is well-deserved to be in this top 5 discussion. It's very close between him and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, if he just had a little bit more of like elite level play, that's really when I would start giving him his credit. Justin Herbert's going to stay right here in the A tier, really just for the fact that I don't trust anybody else to go up. And the one thing we know about Justin Herbert is he puts up great numbers, he looks great, but he doesn't lead to victories. All right, so we will leave him there for the fact that his defense does not help him. His defense cannot do a thing for him. So it is a bit unfortunate. It's a very one-sided football team right now. Boom. Lamar Jackson has put himself in a position to be the number 2 quarterback in the league. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. Earlier in the year, he had a couple fumble situations, getting loose with the football. Boom. Jalen Hurts, again, he's been playing great. He still has about 1 pick a game, which is not something you want to see. But, I mean, the strip sack, we're not going to blame him for it. It just happens. It's a part of football. It's what happens. But he came out there and dominated and played football the right way. And then time of possession in that game was all because of him to use his ability to use his feet and to make the right reads when he needed to the most, which is the most important. When you need to extend drives when you're up by 1 score. And he did just that. Right? Brock Purdy is going to slide to the C tier in this discussion. All right, 2 bad weeks where he's just not been able to hit his receivers wide open. And you could say whatever you want about, him not having Debo, and that's really the only person he lost in Cleveland. Obviously, we know the injuries he got, but he has just missed some wide open throws that you should expect him to make. I expect him to make, and him being the weakest link on his football team is, you got to give a little bit more criticism because he is literally the one person who will get the most disrespect in these type of tier lists, and if their team underperforms. But I mean, overall, that team as a whole did not perform well. So with that being said, we got to drop him a little bit. So we're not going to drop him terribly because I still think Brock Purdy is just doing the right things. He just has been unable to make the throws come down. You can say whatever you want. You can hate on him, all that good stuff. But this is respectfully how it should be looking. And just only because this is the last change on the list. Kirk Cousins going to slide above Dak Prescott just because Dak Prescott was on a bye week. All right. And we would like to see him beat a great team with Kirk Cousins. I mean, we know Kirk Cousins has been turnover prone a little bit, but I mean that win against the Niners with no Justin Jefferson, I mean, it was just a great performance. He didn't turn the ball over. They were able to run the ball successfully, and I did literally just that head-to-head win is what put him over Dak Prescott. With that being said, let me know what y'all think of the list. Again, I think it's well respected. It's fine. It's not asking too much. It's not, out of pocket. Joe Burrow, again, I know he won against Seattle, but he did not look great against Seattle. They had a lot of opportunities to score. I mean, that defense really bailed them out against Seattle, not allowing Seattle to score, and I think like 4 straight red zone opportunities. So big shout out to that defense. And yeah, let me know what y'all think of this QB tier list. Week 8, going into week 8. All right. I mean, I'm sure everybody, all you basketball fans, all you NBA fans, I know you've seen it. Opening night, first game of the season, the Los Angeles Lakers versus the defending Denver Nuggets. I mean, it was a close game. It was a close game. You couldn't have asked for anything better. You would have preferred Anthony Davis to be more consistent. I mean, 0 points in the second half is absolutely unacceptable. For him, supposed to be, he just got paid this 3-year extension. He just got paid this money to be the replacer for LeBron James. He's supposed to take over that throne. He's supposed to be the number one guy and be dominant on our team, and it just did not look like that. I mean, Jokic was just getting whatever he wanted with him in the first half. The one thing I will say is defensively, Jokic came out, started 0 for 9 in the start of the second half, so AD was doing his part defensively, but I mean, him getting outperformed by a lot of our players is not something you like to see. Aaron Gordon having himself a field day. I mean, 7 for 11, 15 points. Jamal Murray, 8 for 13, 21 points. And Jokic, I mean, 29, 13, and 11, and 3 threes. I mean, that's 2-time MVP right there, trying to get a third, and he's putting on the point why. I mean, he just had anything he possibly wanted, and then when you needed him the most to close out the game after we came back from an 18-point lead, an 18-point deficit, he went out there and just started hitting the clutch baskets, and then he started making the right plays, getting it to the right people. And I mean, I am very impressed with this Denver Nuggets team for the fact that they were, everyone from the 1 through the 5, from Jamal Murray, KCP, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. to Jokic. I mean, everyone was just playmaking for each other. It was just selfless basketball, and that's what you like to see. You really do. I mean, Aaron Gordon was making the right reads in leading the fast break, and then you had Jamal Murray come down and do the same, and then you had Jokic do what he does. I mean, this team is just a very good, sound team. I mean, if we weren't down 18 early, I genuinely think, I mean, we had one of the worst first quarter field goal percentages since last year. Like, out of last year, I think only 3 games were worse than how we started that first quarter. So you couldn't have started it any worse than how you would feel. D'Lo came up with 2 very, very bad back-to-back turnovers, which really, we were within 5, and then next thing you know, we're within 11 because they just come back and hit 2 back-to-back threes. But that's little mistakes you can't make. But I mean, listen, LeBron James being on this less than 30 minutes restriction for the entirety of the year to allow him to get to the playoffs, I mean, this is definitely a situation we need to see somebody else step up. And I mean, big shout out to Taurean Prince, going 18 points, 4 for 6 from 3. That dude was an absolute sniper. I mean, he was not missing, and when we needed points, he was there. When he was getting his wide open looks in the corner, he was there. I mean, he played phenomenal, was getting there defensively, was closing out possessions, getting crucial boards. And then, Austin Reeves didn't play very good. My guy, AR-15, didn't play phenomenal. He only 1 for 2 for 3, which I would have liked him to see him get a little bit more shots from the 3, because I do know how well of a 3-point shooter he is. We know he could do that, the catch and shoot, creating on his own. I would like to see him get a little bit more aggressive. But it happens. First game jitters. You got a lot of new people in the lineup, all right? So this is definitely going to be a transitioning thing, building chemistry with your teammates. But I mean, listen, Anthony Davis really has a lot on his shoulders, especially if LeBron James is going to be on a 30-minute restriction. So you need to see Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis scoring 0 points in the second half, 2 points in the second half, whatever it was. It's just unacceptable. When you have someone like that, and we've seen him in his prior history and in New Orleans, and him being this dominant player, who was a DPOY player every year. He's that type of caliber defender. We know his rim protection is elite. It's one of the best. I mean, he is a top 3 center in basketball, but for him to go out there in the second half and play like that is just unacceptable, especially in a game where, if you look at our stats, our team stats versus compared to the Denver Nuggets, we were beating them in almost every category. The only category they had us in was the 3-point shots percentage, and they only had 2 more threes than us, 3 more threes than us. But other than that, we out-rebounded them. We had less turnovers. We had less assists than them. Obviously, like I said, they were playmaking phenomenally. We were closing out possessions, getting rebounds. I mean, if it just wasn't for this slow start, we definitely would have never gotten this situation. But I mean, there was definitely a huge weight on Anthony Davis' shoulders going forward, because with LeBron James on this minute restriction, again, it's all going to come down to him. I mean, maybe, we've seen him have these MVP caliber type stretches every year. When is it going to happen? We don't know. How long is it going to last? We don't know. But we've seen him do these remarkable things, and you just like to see him be more consistent. I mean, definitely if he comes out in that second half and just gives us a couple more buckets, that game is within 3 points just like that. I mean, we showed a lot of perseverance yesterday coming down from 18 in the third. Again, this is a building process. We're going to be okay. We're going to get more chemistry with our teammates, get more reps in, play through more games. Definitely want to get this win against Phoenix on Sunday. On Thursday. TNT. Check us out, 7 o'clock. But this is definitely, we don't want to start 0-2. We don't want to get no relapses to last year, all right? But definitely a tough team. I believe Bradley Beal should be playing in this matchup, so that's another person you got to look out for. But I think overall we will be fine. Taurean Prince, again, huge shout out. He was an absolute sniper. Austin Reeves, we're hoping he starts getting more comfortable and starts hitting some of these shots. He did play a lot of FIBA ball, and so he didn't get to play in the preseason. So, that definitely has to go into it. Lack of reps with this team. And, you can clearly tell there was a little bit of early on miscommunication, lack of chemistry, guys doing things that just didn't work. But, big shout out to Gabe Vincent as well, because I just liked seeing him out there. Talk some talk, play some defense, get up on some people, cause a little bit of problems. He was causing problems to Jamal Murray early. Poking the ball out, being a hassle, and just wrecking havoc. What are my thoughts on the Golden State Warriors versus the Phoenix Suns opening night? Listen, this was not a pretty sight for Golden State. Clearly, the presence of Draymond Green was missed. I did take the Suns at plus 125, 135, whatever it was, just because of the fact that no Draymond Green. Their record without Draymond Green in the lineup, it was not pretty. Because he does run a lot of that offense, and we've seen him. We know how special he is to this Golden State Warrior offense and how much he plays into being successful for that team. And when you don't have a player like that who's had that much chemistry with the team, and he's capable of giving you 10 assists a game and double without even scoring points, that's a very crucial player to your offense. But overall, listen, Chris Paul, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson shot 7 for 25 from the 3, 35.6 field goal percentage on the game, and 23.3% from 3. This is just an absolute disappointing game. Curry still ended up with 27, but this is not the typical Golden State Warriors that you're used to seeing. And it's just, when you see stuff like this, and the fact that it came down to the wire, it came down to one big bucket by Jusuf Nurkic. It's unfortunate for the Golden State Warriors. But again, it's just week one. It was a bad game, and you'll be okay. The real question starts to get into is this CP3 Klay Thompson going to be enough from the supporting cast for Steph Curry? Listen, we know Klay Thompson is getting older. He's getting up there. He's not the same Klay that he is. He's still requesting money like he is Klay from 2016, but we all know he's not. Okay, Chris Paul, again, 4 for 12 from last night, 0 for 7 from 3. He's still old. The same shooting struggles that you've seen are still there, all right? And after the press conference, he even said, I was once on a team that went over 24 in the second half from 3. In the game from 3, right? Back when he was on the Rockets with James Harden. But, I just don't know if this is going to be enough help for Steph Curry to really compete. We look at Steph Curry very highly. Chris Paul was supposed to be a guy to get the second team some run and give them more opportunities to score. He was supposed to get himself more involved, allow Steph Curry and Klay to play off the ball a bit more. And you've seen it, but it just was not working out. He definitely did get that second team going a little bit. You saw a lot more of Jonathan Kuminga, who I'm a big fan of. I like his ability, his slashing two-way ability. And he just went out there and was, being a defensive threat and defensive nuisance like we all know he can be. But, listen, this lineup in general is just too small. You've seen it last night. You've seen the announcers talking about it. Kevon Looney's not the biggest guy, all right? And Jusuf Nurkic, was just taking boards off his head all night long. And Kevon Looney was struggling. He was making some plays, yes, but he was definitely struggling getting those boards like you've seen him do in the past. And, Nurkic is a very big dude. And he also had some big-time buckets, 14 for 14 for Nurkic. He got to the free throw line, a handful. Again, just too big for this Golden State Warriors team. Will Draymond help? In that department, I'm not too sure. We know he can play small ball 5, but again, smaller ball 5. We don't know how that's going to work out against some of these teams, and we've seen it last night, especially with everybody getting older. It's not the same, you know. But I mean, on the other side of the court, Devin Booker, 13 for 21, 32 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, his best stretch was him going out there and ending the game with 4 straight assists, and just came down and started playmaking for others, and that's something you like to see. KD, again, the dude thinks he's the greatest player ever, which I went out there and shot 7 for 22 on his first game back in Golden State, which I thought was phenomenal. We all love to see KD, the slim Raper, the 7 foot, you know what I'm saying? All this hype about him, talking about who he is. I'm glad he played terrible last night, because that's just who he is. We know that. We know he's not as good as he thinks he is. And I know a lot of people are going to take that as a hot topic, but I'm not high on Kevin Durant, all right? Never have been, never will. But I mean, there was just the Phoenix Suns additions, Nurkic, Watanabe. These guys were just making plays when they needed to. Watanabe only had 2 threes, but they were big-time, timely threes. You know, you seen Golden State starting to get a little bit of life, and boom, here he comes with a dagger and just starts expanding that lead. And they just played enough from ahead to where once Golden State got the lead back, it was just, you know, a good little stretch, good little 6-1 stretch, and then boom, next thing you know, they got the lead again, and then from there, they're just riding it out with Devin Booker playing the way he is. I mean, Devin Booker went out there and balled out. Again, are they going to, let's see. When they get Bradley Beal into this offense, it'll be a different story. We'd love to see how that can play out. We don't really know what to expect with that going on. Obviously, Bradley Beal sat out with an injury, but I mean, tomorrow, you'll see him, prime time versus the Lakers. Let's go. La Lakers, baby. All jokes aside, though, I mean, just unfortunate way to lose for Golden State. Did not look good. And then here you keep hearing this question, and you've seen it at its shine brightest last night with, are they getting old? Can Klay still be Klay? Can he still be effective? I mean, if you have Curry out there trying to carry the team all season long, it's going to lead to him getting worn down by the time you get to the playoffs. So there's definitely a bunch of unanswers over there. They definitely need to find some answers and find some results quick. With that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know what y'all think. I've been getting a lot of feedback from people who've been watching my stuff. They text me about how I've been doing, what they think of what I said. So it's been great to see. The TikTok been doing good, been doing solid, been getting a lot of views over there, about 1,000, 1,200 views a video. My most popular one has got to be with Caleb Williams. I mean, 14.2K, I believe, which is insane to me. I didn't even know I was gonna get that much. Definitely not even 1,000 per video, which is great to see. With that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed. You already know what it's good. It's over here, Young Rich, back again. Again, thank y'all for supporting. Thank y'all for watching. See you.